What are we gonna say?
Go team.
Mud?
1, 2, 3, switch.
Boss lab on. Boss lab.
Everybody just say your own thing.
Yeah. I'll get mud.
Boss lab on 3.
Boss lab on 3.
Boss
lab! Episode 4, The Crew, an Ocean Personality. A lifetime ago, and on the other side of the country, I was in a classroom at an aviation university in a course about psychology in extreme environments. The subject shifted from how to be a good co-pilot to maintaining a cool head at mission control during a shuttle launch, and eventually, we asked the aerospace psychology question everyone wants to know. What is the right type of personality to have to be recruited as a NASA astronaut? The professor chuckles because this is likely a popular question asked during this class. He says that while the specifics of NASA's recruiting recipe is likely a government secret, they're looking for work experiences demonstrating high skill in high-pressure team environments.
A lot of things involving what I call the group isolation experience, or GIE, which I'd say is what we're all involved in out here. You know, there's some jobs where you go and do them, right, like a little bit at a time, and then you go home every day, and then there's some where you go and like live with a bunch of people and work all at the same time compressed.
That's true.
Yeah, and some people are temperamentally suited to that environment.
That's Chris, one of the coring technicians. We'll come back to him later. But about the similarity of Arctic voyages and spaceflight, the book Bold Endeavors, Lessons from Polar and Space Missions, details how NASA designs dry runs or analog missions in the desert or underwater in teams of 4. Because according to studies and past missions, a group of 4 people fosters the most productivity yet most social intimacy a group in isolation can have. So to make sure that your group trip makes it out of the group chat, make sure you have at least groups of 4. But within this group of 4, whether in an Airbnb or a deep-sea submarine, group dynamics turns into group compatibility if knowing first the Ocean Personality or Big 5 test. Each letter of Ocean stands for 5 traits that describes 5 dimensions of personality: openness, conscientiousness, extraversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. This method places individuals on the spectrum, specifically 5 spectrums per trait. For that reason, the Ocean Personality Test helps put teams together because of how it measures to find compatibility between people and what it measures to ensure a problem-solving system is established.
I worked on different boats. I worked as a child care provider and as an outdoor school teacher.
We're back on the Sikuliak deck with Chris.
Double Gemini, which I am. I'm a sun and moon sign.
What that could mean is that he's one of the people who seek a life in field science.
I was literally Googling science boat job.
Wait, actually?
Yeah.
For others, field science comes to them as the next step in their career.
So whoever joins our lab, you have to be ready to go for a field trips, a research trips, because it's part of the core requirement in our labs.
This is Iyanu Odewole, one of the senior members of the biology team we have on board.
I mean, my top priority is being in the biotech industry. So where I could actually apply my skills, outside of the skills that I've gained through the PhD in biotech companies. And I also have options of going for a postdoc as well. But majorly, my field is bioinformatics and environmental microbiology and marine science. You know, one thing I always tell people is that my skill is highly transferable. So I can easily transfer it to like medicine or cancer biology. It's just like it's going to take some time to learn the foundations.
Well, I commend the casual confidence of the possible career change from marine science to cancer biology. I asked him if he had any advice for me as media crew and first-time cruiser.
I feel like it's going to be very interesting journey for you, but at the same time, it's very challenging as well. Because I'll probably say, like, when it comes to deep subsurface microbes, a lot of things are unknown. And some of this information comes from assumptions based on, like, most of this information comes from prediction. So hardly will you see some good models on how to study deep subsurface microbes, especially those ones like in a very extreme environment, right? But it's still there out there. And I'll probably say it's one of the ways to actually advance the field forward by trying to come up with all these cool things that the general public can actually appreciate and work with as well.
Okay, let's hear from the head of the biology team and first-time expedition chief himself, Drew Steen.
I mean, I gotta say, watching the team come together and work well together to do science is just awesome, right? Like any group, it takes us a little bit of time to gel, and there's a little bit of, it just takes people time to figure each other out. It takes us time to figure out our protocols. We don't really have a good way to practice on this stuff, and so we kind of have to figure it out as we go along. And we're doing that, and it's really great to watch people have a good attitude through sometimes difficult situations, and really get together on that. I love that.
Nina, the videographer, and I are interviewing Drew after watching one of the best sunsets on the trip, a 360-degree view of candy red clear skies. At the time we were talking with him, it's about the midpoint of the 2-week trip.
Also, I don't know if it was a surprise, but the chief scientist role is definitely, it's a lot. And so I'm always sort of, in a way, it's surprising me that the wheels are still on, but the wheels are on. We're actually, I get a little hesitate to say it out loud, but even if we don't get any more samples on this cruise, it will have been a successful cruise. And that does not always happen. And I've been on some field expeditions that come back with nothing. And we are actually being really successful. And a part of that is dumb luck, but a real big part of that is all the efforts of the technicians, of the other scientists, all the way from a couple of undergrads that we have through the grad students and postdocs and the PIs, and the ship's crew. I am super happy with everybody, and that is why we have a freezer full of samples.
Turns out quite a few other students and fellows have plenty of expedition experience, which meant that they knew to use the extra free time at the beginning of the trip exploring the ship and the amenities that the ship had to offer.
And then here are the fiction books. So this is what I organized because it was you couldn't open the door. So
This is Tatiana Fernandez-Perez, a master's student on the Geochemistry team from Kent State University.
now you can actually see all the books. And to open this header. Ta-da!
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I haven't opened the ones at the bottom, so I don't know what's in there. Here's the
Into our territory.
She studies nutrient drivers of organic carbon-rich marine sediment deposition. To do that, she previously joined a 3-month expedition around the Hellenic volcanic field in the south of Greece. That cruise was under Jordi Science Operator, which documents all of their expeditions online, organized by ship reports, data logs, and even a family and friends photo gallery. You can view pictures of the crew's Christmas stockings and birthday party, as this expedition was from December to February. The link will be posted in the show notes.
So if you open that door on the right,
Here, yeah.
you can access you can go to the mess.
Let's see.
Nice! There's 3 doors that access to the mess. It's this one, this one, and the one over there. That's
Gotcha.
near your room, I guess.
Okay, yeah. This is like a shortcut to our room then.
The only thing about the lounge is that there's people on the other side, so be mindful
Right.
of that to not be screaming or whatever.
Wait, it's a horror movie, no kidding.
See, that's what they should have.
Up next is Kendal Hobbs, an undergrad student, also with an expedition background. She's coming from the paleogeology team at Oregon State University. We're talking near the ping pong table, so that's what you hear in the back. Let's see if you can guess what book we're talking about.
I never bring books anymore because I always just find something random in the library. Have you read it before?
I think I read it a long time ago. It's the only like Stephen King book I read because like it was like an option too, but I was like, let me not be mainstream.
I read the JFK one and I read The Shining.
All right, yeah.
But I haven't read this yet. I heard this is the scariest one.
It can be, but depending on your definition.
Now let's meet an incoming master's student who, in the same conversation of accepting her admission, also accepted a spontaneous invite to this cruise.
So, well, I was going to start my master's in January, and I think Allie came to me in about September-ish and said, hey, you need some field experience since I'm not doing field experience with my core, and to learn how to process a core, take a core in the ocean, you know, things Allie does. And she said it was in Alaska, and I really like to travel, so I was like, yes, I'm going to go to Alaska and travel and take cores. I love field work in general, so I think this is going to be a great experience for that.
Awesome. Was it sort of, how did she like sell it to you? Was it just like, we need field work, I'm going out on this cruise, bring this, pack a blank, whatever?
Well, originally, I think I was just meeting her just for like pre-signing things, like signing my offer, and she was just like, oh, I'm going to Alaska, do you want to come?
This is Hailey Connor, who has field experience, but this will be her first ocean expedition. And Hailey and I found the time to talk in Seward, a port city south of Anchorage. This day is the last day on land and before the 2 weeks at sea. So this is probably the most relaxed and fresh-faced interview. As we talk more, I find out that this upcoming 2-week expedition is already pretty on brand to the lifestyle that she leads.
And then I bought a hiking medallion for Alaska because I collect hiking medallions for a hiking stick.
What's I don't know what those objects are. What's a hiking medallion versus a hiking stick? Yeah.
Well, so a hiking stick, I use it for like decoration, but it's like a piece of wood in a stick form.
Okay.
And it's like decorative, so it's like, I don't know, polished really nice. And then a hiking medallion is like, they sell them at national parks and like state parks and stuff. But it's just like a metal piece that's like really pretty and has designs on it, and then you like pin it to the wood. Like you just hammer it in.
Oh, you just nail. Okay, yeah. And then obviously the walking stick is not like a functional like.
No, yeah, I just use it for decoration.
Gotcha. And you got some state parks on there already?
I have. Alaska's my 37th state, so I have one at least from every state that I've been to.
Cool, nice. Okay, I didn't know that was something that they sell. Is it at like each state's like state park or
visitor
recreational?
centers?
Cool. Yeah. Okay, yeah, maybe I have seen it, but I just thought they were pins, probably not necessarily medallions.
They're usually next to the pins.
Okay.
Yeah, usually like they're kind of curved a little, so it fit like the face of a stick.
Oh.
And then they'll have like little nails.
Do you have a picture of your hiking stick that I can see? Or?
I don't. So only like
to look at it,
10 out of like my 100 medallions are on my stick right now.
That's true, because it probably can't hold all of them.
Oh no, I probably will need a second one, but I just haven't had the time to like actually put all of them on, because I've been collecting them since I was probably 10.
Yeah, I'm gonna start looking a little rough like the second weekend.
I feel like it'll be such like an isolated environment. It just won't matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like just colors and shapes.
I find it way easier to pack for a work trip though than like a vacation. Because on a vacation you're like, what outfits am I gonna put together? Like what shoes am I bringing? Like you know, that type of stuff. Like I didn't bring any makeup. I didn't bring anything.
In a way, when NASA measures personalities for spaceflight, and when the organizers of this trip chose a ship and a crew, they're both packing lists in of themselves. That was Nina talking earlier in the airport, and like she was saying, what kind of work clothes do you bring? What do you do your downtime? Because even an instrument was suggested on the packing list that was sent out to all of us. But still at LAX, I asked Megan more about field science as a career.
Remember on the packing list, he said, this is the gear to get if you like want to make this a long-term thing. I was on the other side of like, oh, just bring the old stuff that you have. So if it gets muddy, then you just close it off.
Honestly, I'm keeping everything open. I think opportunities come, when you least expect them. So who knows?
Yeah.
Exactly.
After the trip, Megan would soon announce her admission into the University of Southern California that fall as a PhD in Drew's microbiology lab. And USC is exactly where Nina and I had just graduated from that previous spring. But here in Alaska, all three of us were first-time cruisers for a trip on this scale. And yet, being on that same page, even if it's blank, makes for fast-growing friendships for on-deck life.
Captive audience.
Yeah. We're stuck out here for 2 weeks and you can't leave.
Can't escape.
No, it's great. But like a lot of the people, that's part of the reason I like coming back to Sequoia, because a lot of the crew and like a lot of the people, everyone's really awesome. Because like you build friendships and they last. It's really fun. It's always fun to come back and everybody's like, hey, how's it going?
This is Sam and Sarah, who are MARSAM or Marine Technicians, a part of Oregon State University.
I'm Sarah. I'm Sam. We're corn techs from OSU. We are responsible for all the corn equipment, as well as interfacing with the scientists on like their goals, making sure that none of the equipment breaks, but still, cutting edge, and doing as much science as we can. Making sure the scientists are happy with their cores and just kind of doing, for lack of better explanation, doing whatever they tell us to do. That's what we're here. We're here to help their science go well and help them get the data they need. So I think I have two favorite parts. I like traveling a lot. Like, this job has allowed me to go to a lot of cool places. Oh, I like being able to like work with my hands and like do stuff and like build stuff. It's so fun.
I agree. I think I like the mechanical aspect of this job a lot. But I also like being on the ship specifically. I really like how you really build intimacy with people very quickly and like much quicker than you would working in an office on land.
Yeah.
Like making friends seems to be a lot easier. Yeah. So I really like that.
In a desk job, project deadlines fall between the hours of 9 to 5, and the rest of the calendar is meant for life's milestones. Working in field science can bite chunks of weeks to half a year at a time, and there's no way to divvy it up for when life happens. Off mic, crew members shared about how they received news of deaths and weddings alike when they were at sea, which is why life at sea, friendships begin and evolve that much closer and faster because they have that close quarter community here. And now with mutual knowing of what and who is back home. Up next on the final episode, did we make it?
Never seen it before.
That's so exciting.
Like a holy grail.
Where are the teams now?
So that is what we are up to. That is what we are going to spend our next year doing in my lab.
And following an underwater breadcrumb trail that leads to an unidentified underwater volcano. No, really.